life doesn't cease to exist when we do work. It's a very important notion that when we do work, life is still going on. So it's rather contradictory to think that work and life needs to be at balance, because we have been living when we were not working. As a teenage guy or a child. Hello and welcome to Ashish Unique Mindset. So this is another video which is on a topic that is quite close to me, and I feel I resonate strongly with this topic. It's about renaming the notion of work-life balance. Why I say so is because work is a part of life. It is not against life. It is not against the notion of life that we have to seek, and life doesn't cease to exist when we do work. It's a very important notion that when we do work, life is still going on. So it's rather contradictory to think that work and life needs to be at balance, because we have been living when we were not working. As a teenage guy or a child or let's say a college student. So then we were not working professionals, and there was life and there was studies. There was not study life balance. There was nothing called this concept of balancing your studies and life. There was concept of balancing your studies and play, maybe. So we can rename this notion of work-life balance as something as work-leisure balance, or at work, outside work balance. So the people who are actually going through the notion of work-life balance or are seeking work-life balance will have a better clarity on what work-life balance is actually about, what it actually is, rather than seeking something which is completely out of the work day. So what I find with my peers and my counterparts is a lot of people are seeking a lot of relaxation and a lot of consumption on the weekends. So this is contradictory to what a work day is, and where as in the work day they are required to be productive and be efficient in what they are doing. That is a given. So friends, work is a very important aspect of life, but life is a superset of our existence, is a term which we articulate as the superset of our existence in this planet. Conversely, the other subsets of life are our leisure activities, our hobbies, what we like to do in our free time, and the time we give to our loved ones, and the time we give to ourselves. All those are subsets of life. So when we are devising a construct that is going mainstream out to the general populace, out to the working professionals, it must be accurate and logical in its interpretation, that is universal, and so that the person or the working professional who is actually interpreting the meaning behind the construct is not overindulging during the weekends so as to get the concept of work-life balance, because the notion is maybe incorrectly interpreted by the person. So there might be overindulgence or overcompensation during the weekends, which I see a lot in my peers and in the subordinates that I have worked in across 10 years. So although the intentions behind the concept are true and correct, but since the convention is so anti each other, because one is seeking is set against the other, it doesn't make sense for a healthy life and living. Because when a person is working, he's still living. He has to take conscious breaks. If there is working from home, even better, he can do some exercises. If a person is not actually literally like entering into Mr. Olympia or lifting iron so much, he can actually make good use of the conscious breaks by doing yoga or stretching or a bit of calisthenics even. So in my opinion, renaming the construct as work leisure balance, or as at work, outside work balance, this makes much more sense and is must will resonate with the populace in a much profound manner, so that the terms and the real productivity is not compromised at work. The work is of quality, the the self care is of quality, the quality of life will enhance drastically. The person will not be compelled to take sick leaves. The person will not take un will not take a huge number of leaves, which will eventually affect the quality of work or the allocation of work. So the benefits are, there are number of benefits, and it will not be belittling work, which is so profound and so important and so necessary, against the concept of life, which is also profound. And so this what will happen is, we will not set against work and life at odds at each other. It will not be belittling work so that it is anti life, and it will not make, conversely, it will not make work so pompous that it is above life. So both the aspects are evenly balanced in when we are renaming the construct of work life balance as work leisure balance, or work at work outside work balance. It is a much better proposition, and it makes much better sense. And I feel, friends, in a organization and in corporations, the HR people are the backbone for emotional intelligence. The workforce is of a specialization and of intellectual intelligence, but the human resource is the backbone of emotional intelligence. So and now with the advent of artificial intelligence, which is mainly contributed by the technical people, which is organization. So they are actually priming the models for artificial intelligence, and with such is the dynamics of the advent of AI, that the models of large language and LLMs and generative AI and so many other bots that enable us in our day-to-day activities, if we prime them with the right constructs and with the right prompts and with the right prompt engineering, which help them to understand the concept better, it will make significant articulation of the concept. It will significantly do, because what we are at is, we are actually priming the machine right now, till now. So we might as well do it in a way that is the best way. It should not be compromising, or we are not able to articulate it in a prompt way, because we can only prompt it when we are clear in what we are saying. We are only going to prompt or prime the engine when we know what is the meaning behind everything. If we don't know the meaning, it will be very difficult to survive, because eventually the machines will be primed in a way that how the priming is done, and each individual must contribute to this priming. Each individual has to come up with unique ideas so that these systems are primed well. And that is how evolution has happened. New concepts have come up, new constructs have come up, new systems have come up, and we have all contributed in our way. And in my way, what I find myself conducive for the most amount of substantial contribution is by emotional intelligence. And I feel the HR folks are the backbone for emotional intelligence in an organization or a corporation. So it's the notion is really good. The notion is the same as work-life balance, but it's putting it in a context that is much more deliberate and conscious and accurate in its context. So that was the intention, friends. It was a kind of a counterintuitive concept, a counter unpopular, contrary to the popular belief concept. So all these things are also important. What we feel, how we view the world, and how everything can interoperate and coexist peacefully and efficiently. Thank you for listening, and do subscribe if you resonate with my views. Thank you.